There was once a lion who ruled a territory so vast that it took 7 days to walk from one edge of it to the other. He had ruled for as long as any creature in the valley could remember. Every stone on the kopje knew his roar. Every bird and every tree had learned to go quiet when he passed. Every cub born in the valley had been taught to say his name before they were taught to say anything else. His roar was the first sound of every morning and the last sound of every night. It shook the grass. It moved the clouds. It told every living thing exactly where the edge of the world was and who was standing at it. He was his roar. His roar was him. And then one morning he woke up and opened his mouth, and nothing came out. Not silence the way the night is silent, full and deep and living. Empty silence. The silence of something that was there yesterday and is simply not there today. He stood on the kopje and tried again. Nothing. He looked out across the valley, the acacia trees standing still in the early heat, the zebra moving slow through the golden grass, the river catching the first light the way it had caught it every morning since before his father's father first stood on this same stone. And for the first time in 40 years, he did not know what any of it was called. He called for his most trusted advisor, an old elephant who had walked beside every lion this valley has ever known. The elephant bowed her great head and said his name, the name that shook the grass and moved the clouds and told every living thing where the edge of the world was. The lion listened to it the way you listen to thunder in a language you don't speak. It landed on him. It did not go in. He sent the elephant away and told no one. For 3 days he moved through the territory the way a lion moves, with the particular weight of a creature who has never once considered that the ground beneath him might belong to anything other than himself. But inside, quietly, without announcement, he was looking. On the 4th morning he came down from the kopje alone and walked into the valley. Not hunting, not patrolling, just walking. He moved through the long grass. He watched a family of meerkats standing at the entrance to their burrow, faces turned toward the rising sun with an expression he had never seen on any creature in his territory. He could not name the expression. He sat down nearby. The smallest meerkat, too young to know she should be afraid, looked up at him with clear, bright eyes and said nothing. She simply went back to watching the sunrise. He watched it with her. They sat together for a long time without a sound between them. Then the grandmother meerkat, ancient, unhurried, unbothered by the lion sitting in the grass beside her family, turned to him and asked, the way the very old ask the very lost, "What are you looking for?" He opened his mouth to roar, to say, "I am the lion. I rule this valley. My roar shakes the grass and moves the clouds, and every creature here knows my name." And instead what came out was, "I don't know." The grandmother nodded slowly, as if this were the most honest thing she had heard from a lion in a very long time. She turned back to the sunrise. She said, "Good. Now you can find out what was there before the roar." He sat with that the way the valley sits with rain, completely, all the way down to the roots. The sun moved across the sky. The grass moved in the warm wind. The grandmother said nothing more, and slowly, the way a paw unclenches, the way a held breath finally goes, the way the river finds its way around the stone it has been arguing with all season, something beneath the roar began to make itself known. Not a sound, not a name, not anything that shakes grass or moves clouds or tells other creatures where the edge of the world is. Something older than all of that. Something that had been there before the first creature in the valley heard his roar and stepped back. Before he learned that stepping back was the same as his worth. He walked back to the kopje before dark. He did not stop roaring. The territory still needed tending. The valley still needed its edges known. But he sat differently on the kopje from that morning forward. And the creatures who had known him longest noticed something in his face they had no name for. The same expression the grandmother meerkat wore watching the sun arrive. Like something that had traveled a very long way and finally stopped.